Hello Geeks and Gamers, Matt Lemke here with Through Gamer Goggles, and today we're going to do a flip through on Out of the Abyss. This flip through is not going to be a spoiler. I'm going to try as hard as I can not to spoil the contents for you. So we're only going to talk about a few key points here, and then you can read my full written review after this goes live. So one of the coolest things about the book, in my opinion, is the way it starts. It starts off that you're a prisoner. Bam! You have to escape from your drone prison and work your way back to the surface. That is basically your goal, while you try not to go insane from the various madnesses that plague the underworld. Now, with that being said, this book has a tremendous amount of NPCs, and these are just a handful that you experience your adventure with right off the bat. And then it goes through different things, bad dreams, blah, blah, blah. You know, all this stuff right here is basically content that I don't want to spoil with you. But as you can see, the maps are of a really high quality. The art, you know, and they're all written in this parchment kind of form, and they're spread throughout the book. So, but where I think one of the best benefits is, and this is probably where we're going to spend most of our time, is in Chapter 2. Chapter 2 is one of the most unique chapters in an adventure book that almost makes this kind of like a source book, to a degree. A source book for the underworld, if you would say. It starts off with the map of the Underdark, and where to travel, the speeds of travel and things of that nature, which are all important if you pay a lot of attention to that. Different encounter setups and things of that nature. Equipment, crafting on the fly, and one of the most important things that I think to catch the flavor of what they're trying to do here is madness. They've taken the old concept of madness, or the old mechanic I should say, and they have reworked it and simplified it for D&D 5th Ed, and I think the way they have simplified it has made it much smoother and faster. And then they talk about death and character death. They talk about different types of fungi and exotic fungi and the different types of effects that they can have. Narrating the journey. They talk about being pursued, because that is kind of a recurring theme throughout this whole book, is that you're constantly being chased. And what I kind of amount it to is kind of like the journey to in Tolkien's The Hobbit. All the way through, the adventurers, the party is kind of being pursued, and they're always kind of like, okay, okay, okay. And then the closer they get to the end, the more that push becomes. That kind of journey. And then, where else, I thought? They have a big, oh, yeah, right here, actually. They have a whole big long list of random encounters and terrain encounters. And the terrain encounters are really what kind of touch upon the whole spelunking nature of the game. And I think if you're somebody who has done any spelunking, you're going to find that that is a very heartwarming experience. And things that, if you have more experience spelunking than your party does, or your players do, it's good for you. And then they summarize all travel, and then they go over some set encounters, and they start moving through some of the other chapters and some of the other, well, these are still like set encounters that are there to happen. Like the oozes, the lost tomb, you know, and as you can see, all the maps are still in that parchment form, just like I mentioned. And we're going to skip through a lot of this now, because there's not a whole lot of art and stuff that goes on. We're going to skip through back to the appendices, because that's the other super important part of this book, I believe. We will make one pit stop to talk about my favorite piece of art in the book with the Demigorgon right here. It's way at the end, because, well, you can imagine that the party fighting the two-headed Demigorgon is probably towards the climax of the book. Now, the very first appendix is, well, it's Appendix A. And basically, this appendix is used for modifying your backgrounds, giving some optional features, like optional feature of Deep Delver. You have a knack for making your way in deep places in the world. And then this one is the Underdark Experience. And then also you have some substitute bonds here. The table provides alternative bonds for characters that can have instead of the bonds from their regular backgrounds. So they they give you the ability to take your characters that you may have already created and modify them for adventuring in the Underdark. And that is one thing about this adventure too. You can easily, with the first chapter, because you could have been involved in some kind of war or fell down a hole or something, you could introduce player characters to this that are getting bored with another adventure at any level, because you start off as a prisoner. And that's one thing that I find really good about that concept of the book. And then you move into magic items. Basically, there's an elven cloak here, and Dawnbringer, which Dawnbringer is an intelligent weapon that allows you to see 120 feet in total darkness. Basically, it gives you dark vision and hearing out to 120 feet. It has an intelligence of like 12. It has a personality that they go over. And then the next one is the Appendix of Creatures, which, again, this is another section of the book that can be applied to anywhere. These are the first time these creatures have been seen, and they have different creature variations. Like they have Durgar Soulblades, Stone Guards. They have Chul Spore Servants, which the Spore Servants are part of the, like, well, these are all new ones, but it's on the tip of my tongue and I can't remember. So we're going to move on. But basically, Spore Servants are beings that have been contaminated, for lack of a better word, by the spore. It begins inhabiting their body and growing kind of like a virus until they become transformed. And for example, here is a Drow Spore Servant at the final stage where their head starts to explode. Or maybe grow. I'm not sure that's explode or not. And then, after you get through all the creatures, you move into the Demon Lords, which they all have, you know, like lairs and stuff, just like you would. They have legendary actions. Here's the Demigorgon. Here's Fraz Urb Lu. We have Grast, Jubilex, Orcus, and then in the very, very back, you have one of my favorite parts, because it has all these different concept arts. Like this is the City of Blades, and they have like the different drawings for the oil pumps and things. I've always liked these things because they've helped me put a finer flavor to the game. It's like adding extra spice because they've already done some of the detail. You can capitalize on their work. Great pictures of the drow here. You've got some brain urns. You've got the lost tombs here. It starts up here and it works its way into the Underdark even a little bit farther and then comes out. Or maybe it goes up. I'd have to spend a little bit of time looking at it. But right here, you've got the Driders with different head adornments that they're allowed to wear, or that they would be found wearing. And on the very back, you have the Demigorgon from different angles of the concept art, a final piece of art. You have the House of Dever. You have Vizrun Dever, who is a NPC. And you have Zelix, which is the founder and administrator of the subterranean insane asylum. The Mind Flayer captures creatures. And that's about as revealing as I want to get. And then you have this little section that has what happens next. Which opens up all kinds of cool ideas for you. Dare to descend into Dungeons and Dragons.com, and then it talks about demons rampage through the Underdark, spreading insanity and terror, and other cool things. But it gives you some more key concepts that you can use in your adventures. And then that would be everything. So, Rage of Demons, Out of the Abyss, is largely about escaping the Underdark with your mentality. What I like about the book is they give you plenty of tools to go through and explore the Underdark, not only by using this book, but by create your own campaign. with what they have done. The other thing that they did very well is they put the struggle of insanity into a perspective that is balanced enough that players and GMs can kind of pick and choose how they're going to use it. It can be a run to the forefront, or it can be kind of thrust off to the side and just kind of linger there as a threat. But needless to say, I think out of all the adventure books that they've done so far, the campaigns, the hardback campaign books, this one is my favorite because of the way it was approached. It reminds me, I've been playing Dungeons & Dragons for a long time, it kind of reminds me of like the Dungeoneer's Survival Guide, or the, I think it was the Wilderness Survival Guide, and how they had so much information to make those adventures better. This book is full of information that makes those adventures better, but it also has a full campaign in it. So, thanks for watching. This has been Matt Lemke with Through Gamer Goggles, gamer-goggles.com. And this is our flip through on Out of the Abyss. Please subscribe to us. Check us out at gamer-goggles.com. And we're going to be starting our Season 5 Kickstarter very soon, so please stay tuned for that and you know, be a part of everything that we're doing. Join our community. I want to hear from you. Thanks, and have a good day.